TV MixHub, the Masterford Topical Videos channel on YouTube. Highlights of past protests in Nigeria. Nigeria has a history of civil unrest and protests, often driven by economic hardships, political grievances, and social injustices. Here are some of the most prominent protests in recent history. NARs Protest, 2020. This nationwide protest movement against police brutality and bad governance was sparked by a viral video of a man being shot by SARS operatives in Delta State. The protests lasted for over 2 weeks and led to curfews and internet shutdowns. NARs Protest, 2020. Demands disbandment of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, a notorious police unit accused of brutality and extortion. Outcome: sparked nationwide conversations about police brutality, corruption, and bad governance. Led to the official disbandment of SARS, but systemic issues persist. Bring Back Our Girls Protest, 2014. Demands safe return of over 200 schoolgirls abducted by Boko Haram from Chibok, Borno State. Outcome: increased global awareness of the Boko Haram insurgency and the plight of the abducted girls. Fuel subsidy removal protests, 2012. The government's decision to remove fuel subsidies led to widespread protests and strikes across the country. The protests were met with violence and several people were killed. Fuel subsidy removal protests, 2012. Demands: protests against the government's decision to remove fuel subsidies, leading to increased fuel prices. Outcome: demonstrated the impact of economic policies on the populace and highlighted the government's challenges in managing public expectations. Anti-privatization protests, 2005. Demands: opposition to the government's privatization of public enterprises. Outcome: demonstrated the power of organized labor and civil society in influencing government policies. June 12 protests, 1993. Following the annulment of the June 12, 1993, presidential elections, which were widely believed to have been won by Chief Moshood Abiola, there were nationwide protests calling for the reinstatement of the election results. These protests were met with violence, and many people were killed. June 12 protests, 1993. Demands: recognition of the annulled presidential election victory of MKO Abiola. Outcome: played a crucial role in the eventual return to democratic rule in Nigeria. These are just a few of the many protests that have taken place in Nigeria over the years. These protests often highlight the deep-seated issues in the country, such as corruption, inequality, and lack of accountability. While the protests mentioned earlier were pivotal, Nigeria has continued to witness various forms of civil unrest in recent times. Student protests, ASUU, strikes and protests. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has embarked on numerous strikes to demand improved welfare conditions, funding for universities, and autonomy for universities. These strikes often lead to student protests across the country. Fee increment protests. Students in various universities have protested against fee hikes, demanding affordable education. Other protests, labor strikes. Workers in different sectors, including oil and gas, have staged protests over poor working conditions, salary issues, and other grievances. Religious and ethnic clashes. Nigeria has experienced sporadic protests and clashes related to religious and ethnic tensions. Protests against insecurity. Citizens have often taken to the streets to protest against the rising insecurity, particularly in the northern part of the country. Note: these are just a few examples of the many protests that have taken place in Nigeria over the years. Each protest has had a significant impact on the country's political, social, and economic landscape. Potential outcomes of nationwide protests in Nigeria. The potential outcomes of a nationwide protest in Nigeria are complex and multifaceted, influenced by a variety of factors including the specific demands, organization, and government response. Here are some possible scenarios. Positive outcomes. Government accountability. A well-organized and peaceful protest can force the government to address pressing issues such as corruption, insecurity, economic hardship, and poor governance. Social change. Protests can galvanize public opinion, leading to increased awareness of social issues and promoting social change. Unity and solidarity. Protests can foster a sense of unity among citizens and strengthen civil society. Negative outcomes. Violence and loss of life. Protests can escalate into violence, leading to loss of life and property damage. Economic disruption. Protests can disrupt economic activities, leading to job losses and increased hardship for the population. Government repression. The government may respond with excessive force, leading to human rights abuses and further polarization. Hijacked by criminal elements. Protests can be infiltrated by criminal elements, leading to looting and vandalism. Weakened governance. Prolonged and violent protests can destabilize the government and undermine its authority. Uncertain outcomes. Negotiated settlement. Protests may lead to negotiations between the government and protesters, resulting in some concessions. Backlash against protest movement. The government or public opinion may turn against the protest movement, leading to its suppression. No immediate impact. The protest may not achieve its immediate goals, but could lay the groundwork for future mobilization. It's important to note that the outcome of a protest is influenced by various factors, including the specific demands, the level of organization, the government's response, and the overall socio-political climate. Welcome to TV MixHub, the Masterford Topical Videos channel. Featuring a variety of topical videos on YouTube, TV MixHub is a traditional television-style content creator. We curate collections of videos and are obsessed with providing an intelligent mix of technological and human expertise to boost your knowledge base, productivity, and lifestyle. If you found any of our videos helpful and satisfying your curiosity with witty, informative, and entertaining content, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. Click the bell icon to get notified about our new videos on YouTube. Be sure to share your opinions in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.